All right. Okay. We should be live. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to another video. And in this video, we're going to be covering my Battle Tower run. I'm sure someone will link or in the comment in the pin when the first battle is going to happen. So look for that if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this live, welcome. I'm just going to give it a few moments for people to join, cover my run. I had a very basic strategy, so don't expect anything too fancy. But the strategy I definitely learned while I was in Peru from battling, trainers like Max Cornwell and Ventusky. So I learned a lot from them battling, and I applied a lot of the strategies in addition to the things that Wild Susan Boyle taught me or take in consideration. So. Let's give it a moment for people to join. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I guess I can monitor Twitch from here as well, right? That's right. I'm pretty sure I can. Where's my dashboard? All right. Okay, sound is great. All right, let me just tweet out that I am live. Okay, all right. To be honest, I really didn't want to. How's it going, Sigmund Toya? To be honest, I was hoping that I wouldn't have to cover this tournament. I record my battles just because I always do, but I usually don't cover tournaments this late because the tournament, the Rose Cup is over, right? No one's directly gonna benefit from this, right? So just for entertainment purposes, but I'm not that entertaining, so not really that helpful. Maybe some strategies, I guess. Higher level strategies. So anyways, let's start. Let's go ahead and take a look. So my team is I'm pretty sure exact copy of Ventusky's team. Originally I had Gliscor instead of Gligar, and I like my team in Peru. I like Wild Susan Boyle's team a lot, but I'm like, okay, the stress is off. I already did my weighted tournament in Peru, in Lima, and it went pretty well. I went 6-2. I think I went 5-0. Then I lost a really close game to Swaggeron. So I felt pretty happy about it. So going to this one, I didn't want to be too stressed, but I also wanted to have a little bit of fun. So I had a lot of trouble with Ventusky's team and variations of his team. So I'm like, okay, I'll run his team with Scrafty, Double Fire, Charizard, Alolan Marowak, Proplast, and Wigglytuff. And originally I had Gliscor. But then the Battle Frontier team, we had a Carne Asada. I think that's the right way of saying it. Pardon my pronunciation. Convinced me that Gligar was better. And the one matchup that they convinced me of was that if your Gligar is good enough PvP IVs, you can actually double dig against a Probopass in the one shield. You survive with 3 or 4 HP, but I'm and then they're convinced me that every other matchup is way more straightforward. Against Alolan Marowak, you just have to go straight Night Slash. Don't need to do anything too complicated. It puts the onus on them, so it's a little bit higher consistency compared to Gliscor. But I didn't have a lot of time to run the Sims, so you're gonna see me make some mistakes when I use Scrafty and when I use Gligar. But essentially, my strategy was to sweep with Scrafty. So basically, I was gonna hopefully draw out the Charmers, or make the Charmer stay in by coming in with Gligar. And I learned this strategy by watching Escambrero's approach when he led Rhyperior into a Wigglytuff, and then he switched in a Gligar. It becomes very confusing for your opponent on what to do because that's a favorable matchup for Wigglytuff as well. So I kind of leverage some of those things as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the first match. My first opponent had a pretty tricky team. had Clefable, Probopass, Drifblim, Machamp, Rhyperior, and Golbat. I had never encountered a Drifblim. I had actually no idea how the matchups play out. So I won the lead. This is great. And basically what I did was whenever they switched, I just blind switched. I just blind switched the Gligar the entire time. Like it didn't matter unless there's one team where they had a Skarmory that I knew it wouldn't be great against, and I think I still blind switched. But I basically used that because I didn't want because basically Scrafty, like any charm hitting Scrafty is terrible. So I wanted to make sure that I received as little damage as possible from Scrafty. And you can see how much I actually tank a Shadow Ball here. This is how tanky Gligar is compared to Gliscor. It's pretty phenomenal. And I get off the Night Slash with like 1 HP left, and they end up taking shield advantage, which is totally fine by me. I'm going to be able to go into a Alolan Marowak. I know this is just a Poison Fang, so I'm not going to shield. And it would have been really bad if it was Shadow Ball, but it definitely wasn't. So then they go into Probopass, and I switch out, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel pretty decent. Okay, well, that was terrible. If they come back in with Wigglytuff, I'm just going to farm down the Wigglytuff and still win that match. I really shouldn't have shielded here. I'm not sure why I did. And they actually had Machamp in the back. And I'm terrible at these fighting animations. Definitely gonna get some comments below on why and they end up shielding. So I just go. I was gonna go for it because. But anyway, this is a pretty straightforward match for me for the rest of the way. And then I end up I go. Well, okay, this is just gonna be a cross chop. If this was a rock slide, that would have been awful. But I was counting, so. I debated between like undercharging. I think I ended up doing it. And then the stupid update on AZ Recorder. AZ Recorder like was on the side. It's this annoying button. You'll see me hit it a few times during the tournament run. So pretty annoying. So I do have my Thunderlines jersey somewhere. So one thing that Swagon told me was like. When you win the match, you can predict what your opponent's going to bring in next. So I just let Alolan Marowak because they knew that Scrafty was so good against their team. So ended up being a pretty decent matchup for me. I ended up going for the Shadow Ball. I probably could have farmed up a little bit more, to be honest, because it's going to take quite a few. But they ended up... and I was like, I had never played out this matchup before. I'm like, does it get to a Psychic? If it does, then that's a terrible matchup for me. So I ended up being Mirror Mash, which I think I would have barely survived. And they go into Rhyperior. I thought I could only get off one charge move, but I probably could have got double Bone Club. But I actually ended up paying off, and I switch out to Scrafty to KO the Rhyperior, and then they come into Machamp. Again, I'm terrible at these fighting animation ones. I really should and then I just keep going for Power Up Punch. I think people underestimate like how tanky Scrafty is, because it's definitely not a matchup that you can easily just farm down. And then now I'm in a really good position, so it's going to be a pretty straightforward matchup from here. And then I just basically let the Machamp burn some energy, and it's being a cross chop. And then I'm just going to Fire Spin down. All right, so pretty straightforward. And then I've already stupid AZ recording button thing. I should move it on the other side, because there was actually one time I tried to switch and then I clicked on it and I was like, oh my gosh. I basically just run these three Pokemon the entire time. So I go into Scrafty. Again, I'm gonna look to. Okay, they're just staying in, so I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Does quite a bit of damage. And they switch out. I switch out. I don't know why I had a Alolan Marowak there. I really should have had Gligar, because it was like my whole strategy. But this one, this is like match number 3. So I wasn't too fussed on it. So I go for the Bone Cup bait. I know I'm in like not that great of a situation right now. So I'm hoping that I can hit the Shadow Ball beforehand, which I end up hitting it. And then they end up shielding, which is fine because they're going to Shadow Ball, and that's going to KO. I guess I could have shielded and then maintain switch advantage, but it's okay. I'm going to switch out into Gliscor, and then I'm going to go for the Night Slash, and I don't think this KOs. And I actually wanted to switch out to tank the Shadow Ball because I thought that would have been a pretty cool move, but that's okay. All right, and then they go into Probopass, and then what do I do here? They Rock Slide me. I switch out, hoping I can KO this Probopass with the counters, and then I'm going up against Machamp, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go one Power Up Punch. I'm gonna be able to survive the. Oh man, I'm terrible at these fighting things. And then I'm gonna go for. Actually, I wouldn't survive the Cross Chop, but they do want to counter down. I think that's like their only way to win. And I go for the foul play and end up KOing with the counters. So that was match round number 1. Now going to round number 2, and they have the double tanks, and they have a Delcatty. I was like, oh, okay. And then this matchup is like, I'm not really sure how to play this matchup. Clearly, they just go for the Night Slash. That's what I would do. I wouldn't even bother going up for the dig. So I go for the foul play because most people don't shield the first one. And then what I do here is, did I go for the foul play again? I guess I did. Yeah, I'm going to survive this. I go for the foul play again. If they don't shield, then I'm going to be able to KO. They end up... and then I think I just give up switch advantage here, I think. This is not going to KO. And I'm not going to be able to get to it. And I'll just do this Power Punch for a little bit of damage. And, of course, he does almost nothing, even with those excellence. So I go into Gligar, just because I know these Night Slash are not going to do that much. So then I look to farm down. They go into Rhyperior. And what I do? So then they told me, I'm like, oh, so I asked them so many questions as I was deciding between Gliscor and Gligar. They're like, oh, it's just way easier with Gligar. Gligar, you just straight Night Slash. I think you need to hit land 3 of them, then you'll KO. I end up shielding. This is going to be a Surf. And I should be able to... Oh, so this is the mistake I make. I was like, oh, I'll just count the number of them, then hit the Night Slash. Then we end up CMP tying that. I completely forgot that that Rhyperior, for some reason, some stupid reason, after I lose this match, which aka I lose this match because of I had to burn the shield. It's the dumbest move. I was counting too. I was like, oh, maybe I can hit it like 2/3 of their way, but it didn't end up working out for me. And I really should have just thrown the Night Slash, baiting up that I had the dig. And then I switch out into a little Marowak, and yeah, I'm in huge trouble because I wasted that shield, so that was so stupid of me. I knew the counts too, right? I just didn't. I was like, oh, I'll just count up to it, then throw it like 2/3 of the way, but stupid of me. So I go for the Bone Club again. I think he ends up not shielding. Oh no, shielding. And then I'm not going to be able to get this off, and then I think I lose this matchup by like 1 HP. So I make a stupid... I'm able to get to the dig, but it really means nothing because like their Gligar has like 3 HP and mine has 1. Yeah, so whatever. Okay, made a mistake for sure. I really should have won that match. Well, not that I should have won the match. I put myself in a more vulnerable situation by losing the CMP tie, even though I got to it 1 wing attack earlier, just because I was getting greedy on farming, which is just stupid of me. I might have still lost. I had slightly more energy, shield. I don't know. Technically, Marowak wins the 1 shield matchup against Probopass. So, anyways, we're going to game number 2. So this is a good situation. Again, I just blind switch into Gligar the whole time. You'll see throughout the entire tournament, I just blind switch to it, because like in against this team, like there's not really terrible matchups against it. Like the Delcatty is going to be a little bit. Well, the Delcatty is not even that big a problem because it doesn't have the fairy typing. And again, like you'll see that Gligar just straight up takes that Shadow Ball, and then I end up winning this matchup. So I'm like, okay, this is just gonna be a bone club. The question is like, can I still get to it? And I'm like, I gambled. I'm like, oh, mine's a rank 55 Gligar. It's pretty tanky. Gonna be able to get it off, and I get the boost. So I was like, oh, okay, that's gonna do absolutely nothing for me. I expect the Probass to come back out, and then I'm gonna come back in with Scrafty. And they go into Medicham. This is fine for me. And I switch out into Alolan Marowak. And what do I do? Do I shield this first one? I think I shield this first one, thinking that it's going to be a Psychic, which it is. Obviously, I don't want to get shielding the first one. At least shielding the Psychic will put a little bit less pressure on me because I can tank the second Psychic. And they end up not shielding because I go straight for the Shadow Ball. And I think I don't shield. And then, yeah, this is like a pretty straightforward matchup from here. Because I have like a full health Scrafty in the back. And I'm just like waiting out the clock. And then, actually, I just go for the Bone Club. Okay, all right. All right. And for whatever reason, if that didn't KO, I'll just come back into Scrafty. So that's game number 2. And then game number 3, I was like, okay, you know what? I led, I think like Medicham is the safest lead on their side. They actually go in with the Delcatty. I was like, how does this matchup play out? This is certainly not a matchup I've played out before. I know they're going to get the charge move before me. And it looks like I'm winning the fast move because it makes sense. I have stab on mine. Delcatty has like okay stats, but I'm doing 20% more damage. And then what do they come back in with? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play rough, whatever. Okay, I got to go for play rough. It doesn't matter. They end up like that would make crazy no shield. I think I would have KO'd them with charm afterwards. So I just gonna let this go. I have switch advantage, and I'm like, okay, I'll just go in with my Gligar, a little bit of lag. And I go into most matchups knowing that I'm probably not going to have CMP in the mirror match, just because like usually I have like pretty decent ranked Pokemon. So I go into it and we just basically do this fun little matchup. There's Night Slash, and then the corresponding. To be honest, I knew I was going to lose this CMP. I actually don't think this KOs, and then I think I farm down. Yeah, and then I farm down. Just barely one off, and he would have got it. And then here comes Medicham, and then I'm like, okay. So this is what ended up happening. I was like, a lot of people don't like shielding these Night Slash because they don't do neutral. And Gligar, Night Slash is not the strongest move. So I'm like, oh, I'll just stay in. Literally just do as much damage as possible. He plays it correctly, tries to farm down, but then I'm like in such a good range that I know they already have Psychic, so likely they have Ice Punch. If he had Dynamic Punch, I might have lost this game, but well, actually, I think Scrafty would survive Dynamic Punch at this range, so end up fading down with shields. And we go into game number 3 against my friend Jerry. This first game, he does very well. The second game was really close, which you're going to see in a little bit. So he goes into Machamp versus Alolan Marowak. Very bait dependent, like he has to land the Rock Slide. So he has a very good strategy here. So I shield the Rock Slide, which is good for me. And then I go for the bait. He switches out to Gliscor. He ends up shielding, which is great for me. And then because Gligar, so this is what I asked him, like, so how's the Gligar Gliscor matchup? The guys at the frontier were like, "Oh, Gligar wins," and I literally, this is my fault. I didn't look it up. I think Gligar only wins the one shield. And I actually did not. Well, actually, we're at the one shield, but for some reason I'm like slightly behind. I'm not sure why that happened, unless he was like overcharging. So anyway, so I'm like, oh, man. Uh, so I'm like, oh, do I? I don't want to lose switch advantage because I don't want to be paired up. My Scrafty be paired up with a Machamp, but his Machamp has no energy. I don't know. Debatable move on my part. He goes into Wigglytuff, and then I go into Alolan Marowak, and I go into the Bone Club. But man, my Alolan Marowak is very low health right now, and I think also my screen. We were playing outside, and my screen was overheating, which is why later on you're gonna see. And I'm like, thank goodness he doesn't. And then I was like, okay, like this is such a poor matchup for me. Um, I really should have. How should I play this differently? I could have countered down, I guess. I don't know. And thrown the power up punch into Wigglytuff, but I don't even think I get one counter off, um, and then he's gonna play rough me. So, very good game on his part. Really aggressive switch, which threw me off. Then did really well. Okay, so I go into the next match, and he basically bought three Pokemon that were good against Scrafty. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dare him to come in with that same lineup. And so I lead with Scrafty. Um, ends up. The question is, do I know Stragon? Yeah, Stragon. I know each other pretty well now. We've spent two weekend-ish events together in the last month. So in February. So Stragon's super cool guy. Um, yeah, man, Jerry was playing out of his mind. This game was like super close. Let's see. The reception was great. Like no lag, no lag. So I was like, oh, I dared him, and then he came in with Scrafty. Came in with Wigglytuff. So I switch out into Gligar, and I'm like just waiting for him. And he comes into his own Gligar, builds up some energy. I have quite a bit of energy on my side. Um, this is an extremely close match. I missed like one critical thing at the end, um, but I knew I had to save my energy because I needed to maintain switch advantage. If I maintain switch advantage, like I'll have a chance. So I go for the Night Slash, even if I'm down a shield. Like this is like my only play. So he ends up shielding, which actually ended up working because I think he would have survived and got the Night Slash anyways. So we ended up going into the even shields. Arguably, I should have over farmed because I know he's going to come back in with Wigglytuff, but it ended up not KOing. So I think he could have got like preserve. Oh, he ended up having the shield advantage. So this is not great for me. So I go into Alolan Marowak, and I'm in the Alolan Marowak mirror. I was like, I have no idea why I'm staying in this mirror. So this is where I make like, I honestly, I'm like, I have no idea how to play this. So I was like thinking about it. I was like, he Shadow Balls me, he doesn't KO. I watched his video. He actually undercharged his next Shadow Ball. So I was like, oh, man, I have no idea how to play this matchup. So this is, so he undercharges this, which is why it doesn't KO me, which was a really good play on his side. So I could have went for the foul play. I think I was like one counter off, and as well I'm doing a terrible job there. And you know what? I honestly thought, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get him down to farm range, and then I realized like he has a little bit too much energy, and then I was like, oh god, and I was like, I should have went for the foul play because I could did one counter onto the Wigglytuff, which maybe enough, but I just didn't know how to play out that matchup. So I tried to go for the self piggyback. So I go for these bone clubs, and then I try to click on it, and then I click another fire spin, which I don't think the self piggyback would have worked anyways. So, and then I'm like super low on health, and I was like, Oh, I need one more, and that counter would have been enough. So, huge mistake on my part. But he played that matchup really well. So, kudos to him. I like put a lot of like took huge chunks out of my Gligar, so his Gliscor would come out positive in that matchup. And he knew I wanted to maintain switch advantage, so then he ended up in the Geo Shield scenario. So ended up switching to a Alolan Marowak. And what do I do here? Do I shield this? I shield it, ends up being Rock Slide, so it's a good shield on my part. He switches out into Wigglytuff for some reason. I forget why. Oh, because I think he had a Alolan Marowak in the back, but uh, what did he? Yeah, I'm not sure why. I to be honest, I think he gifted me this match. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I think he took pity on me in this match. So he ended up shielding. So I ended up shielding here. Why? I don't know. Anyways, okay. I shield and then I farm down. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be able to Shadow Ball whatever comes in next, right? And then he's gonna respect the shield regardless. So, because I think he had a Alolan Marowak in the two. I would trust a Alolan Marowak with a 2 shield advantage, um, and then I come in with and I switch out. Yeah. This was just a pity win, but he played really well, and I was actually hoping that he would run the table. So, and I ended up winning this particular match, but he's already won the first two. So the pressure's like way down for me. So I just need to just play on, right? So it was actually pretty. I didn't feel that stressed going to this tournament. Like in Peru, once you're weighted tournament, you feel like a little bit more pressure, and a lot of people are following the tournament, and a lot of people have like certain expectations on how I'm going to perform, and I'm going down to visit. So I was like, obviously I want to do well, but it was not as much pressure as it was in Lima. So I ended up losing that match. So right now I'm 2-1. So I go into the fourth round. So I should have led a little Marowak. I have no idea why I led. Oh, because I was hoping to catch a Scrafty, which I was hoping for, and then he goes into Rock Throw Probopass. I think this is Rock Throw. Definitely Rock Throw, which is absolutely chunking away at me. So not a great situation for me. What do I do here? Do I shield? I shield because I want to maintain switch advantage, I guess. I don't know what I was necessarily thinking here, because this Wigglytuff is going to be a problem for me regardless. Yeah. This Wigglytuff is going to be a problem. It goes back to Wigglytuff. I was like, well, this is absolutely terrible for me. I end up getting demolished in this match because I really don't have much play. Like if I don't catch the Wigglytuff into my, this is why I shouldn't leave Gliscor. I should always like leave in the back, and then he actually gives me the window to win because he doesn't shield this, and I get the boost, and then he ends up shielding. So I go for it, which would have KO'd the, and then I go for it again. And then I think he had like, I misplayed this. This is like lack of preparation. I get the boost again, which is great. All right. So, anyways, this is terrible for me. But I only take one charm, and then goes into Golbat. This. This. I literally looked up this match the morning of, and I was like double foul play. But then in my brain, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get to it. He's going to be able to. He ends up shadow balling me, which I don't think is the right move. Maybe because he was afraid. I don't know. And I go for the foul play. I'm like, please KO. I was like, I have no idea if this is going to KO. I just picked up Scrafty the other day. And I really had enough energy to double foul play. So that was just... after that match, I was like, I literally looked up that match like an hour before the tournament. I was like, I cannot believe I didn't foul play. I just panicked there. I had a chance to win there, but it was stupid of me to go power up punch foul play. Yeah, I knew. Stupid, stupid. Um, yeah, power up punch foul play. Yeah, whatever. I might have misspoke there. Um, so, anyways, I go into this matchup in was this game number 2. So this is not a great matchup for me. I think even if I land the Shadow Ball, and even I land in shield and land the Shadow Ball, I think it's like pretty bad for me still. And then I switch out into. I was like, oh, I was hoping to KO beforehand, so that ended up being pretty good for me. And then I think he goes into Probopass. It's a rock throw Probopass. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw the dig, draw out the shield. That'll be good for me. Um, so, and then let's see, what do I do? I think I just go for the Night Slash. Just do a little bit of damage. And so we're at even shields. I'm going to come back in with Scrafty, farm up this Probopass. And I go for the power up punch. I don't know if I... Okay, ends up shielding. Which made me think, I was like, does he not have a counter to it in the back? So I get a little bit too comfortable. He actually has Wigglytuff. And then you'll see there, I clicked on the recording thing as I was trying to switch out. I was like, Jesus, like, I don't know why the recording button is like right on my switch button. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah, it was. Yeah, this is a new update. Like, so. And I ended up being able to faint down. So it worked out okay for me regardless, like even through the charge move, like as long as I could switch out. Even my scratch got KO'd. But so we go into the third game of this set, and I lead Probopass into Marowak. So I was actually hoping to catch to catch it. And then I end up going for the dig, hoping to catch the Bone Club. That did not work out at all. Ends up shielding, which is fine. And I want to chip away. So I also make a mistake, which almost cost me the match. And this is me not following advice very well. This is me not following advice very well. So I'm up a shield. And I go for the rock throw. I have no idea, or rock slide. I have no idea. Well, I knew it wouldn't KO, but then I was like, what I should have done was like, for some reason I wanted to avoid the damage from Wigglytuff, but that was a stupid move on my part. And he goes for the Bone Club, which is the right move. I know this little Marowak has quite a bit of energy. This is so I end up switching out, and I was actually hoping to catch the Bone Club here again, and then didn't work. So he comes into a rock throw Probopass. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty interesting for me, because like if I can get to this Probopass pretty low, I can like farm down with my Probopass, and then be able to get off 2 rock slides. So I was like, okay, I debated shielding and then farming down. I don't know what it would have been. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not gonna shield this Magnet Bomb. Like the only way I'm gonna lose is if I get Bone Clubbed. This Fire Spins are not gonna do enough damage because I'm gonna be able to farm up enough energy. And then we lag a little bit, but he's gonna win CMP anyways, which makes sense. And then I was like, please let me have enough energy. So I go for it, and then I'm like stressing out here, and then I am able to get to the rock slide. I don't think he said he wasn't that close. He said he was like 2 more off. I don't know. It seemed like he should add more because he didn't Bone Club me right away. So End up taking that match, super close. And this team has double fairies and a Skarmory. So I lead Charizard. I was like, okay, Charizard seems like pretty decent against this team. So I go Charizard in, and then I switch out into Gliscor or Gligar. Yeah, I like Scrafty as a fighter. It's definitely the weakest of the fighters, but it is very dangerous against. It's very good against ghost types. Has a much more reliable matchups against the ghost compared to Medicham and Machamp. So yeah, this matchup's going pretty well for me. And then I end up shielding. I think this is a foul play, which was great. So I didn't tank the power up punch and I shield the foul play. So it puts myself in a really good position. End up KOing. So I maintain that advantage, and then obviously going to come back in with Skarmory. But Skarmory's allowed in this tournament. But someone posted on Twitter saying, so I was worried that he had Probopass, so I wanted to, for some reason, beta the Probopass. Not sure what my plan was there. It ended up being a Snarl variant of Granbull, and so I was like, okay, I was gonna go for the Shadow Ball, but I thought I was gonna get KO'd, which is actually probably correct. I would get KO'd. Let's see. Yeah, it ended with CMP tie. Um, so the only way I lose here is I get Sky attacked on my um, on my Charizard. So I just tank this Crunch, and it comes back in with Skarmory, and then so I go for the Blast Burn because if the Skarmory's at 0 energy, he ends up. Oh, he has no shield left. So, anyways, that's the only way I was gonna lose. So that's why I didn't. I just took the crunch, even though I had no idea how much damage it wasn't gonna do. Especially Grand Ball being very attack weighted, and Charizard being really squishy. So he led. So I go back to my regular lineup, I guess. Yeah, I go back to my regular lineup because I'm like I'm pretty sure he's not gonna lead. I'm pretty sure he's gonna lead Probopass, and which he does because of the Charizard I led. And I'm gonna blind switch again, which actually I was like, don't blind switch into Gligar if they have Skarmory, which is my rule, and then I totally broke the rule on this one. Yeah, so stupid mistake on my part, but I ended up taking it pretty well, the Sky attack, and then I'm gonna be able to get off one more after this. He ends up shielding, which I don't think was necessary. Yeah, definitely not necessary. And then I think I come into with a little. Oh, he ends up undercharging, which ends up working pretty well for me because I'm able to get off one more and put him lower. Well, he has two. So I come into Alolan Marowak, and he switches out into Scrafty, and I'm like, so I have Scrafty in the front, so I'm not really sure how to play this out. So I go for the Shadow Ball, and I'm pretty sure this is just a Power Up Punch, which it ends up being. And obviously these counters are not doing very much even after boosted. So I end up going for the Bone Club, even though the Bone Club wouldn't have KO'd like the subsequent Power Punch, the subsequent Fire Spins would have KO'd. So I end up like putting myself in this stupid situation. I don't know why. Okay, so then he ends up switching out to Probopass, and I switch out into Scrafty myself, and then I'm just gonna tank this Magnet Bomb, and I'm gonna go do a Power Up Punch, and then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be at one hopefully, and then I'm just gonna Power Up Punch whatever comes in. Ends up being the Scrafty. Doesn't matter. And then I end up shielding this sky attack. And then I'm just going to counter down. All right. So, was that the second game? Second game? Second game. Yeah, this is the third game. So I decided to lead Pro Pass again. This is round number 5. So, which is a terrible matchup for me. So I switch out into Gligar, and he switches out into Skarmory. And I'm like not really sure. So I do want to get this Skarmory pretty low, so I can just farm it with Probopass, and then put some shield pressure on. So I end up not shielding, and I think I go for one more. I think he actually goes for the Faint Down, which I think is the right play. Nope. Okay. I think the right play would have been the Faint Down, I should say. But I might have been able to get to another one. I don't know. So obviously I'm going to come back into with Probopass, and then I'm going to look to farm up, and he switches out into... so I thank goodness I switch out and catch the Power Up Punch, but this leaves me in like not a great situation. I basically have to call all his baits and bluffs correctly. Oh, he ends up Power Punching me, which is a very which makes total sense. So I go for the Bone Club. He ends up shielding, and what do I do here? It ends up being a foul play. So I'm in a pretty decent situation. I have a pretty big energy advantage versus Scrafty, and then this is gonna end up being shielded, and then I overcharge a little bit, because like even if it's just a Power Punch, if it's a Power Punch, then I would just faint it down. Which there's no reason necessarily to go for the Power Punch. He ends up going into Probopass. And what do I do? And I tried to switch out, and then my opponent identified the switch out and actually did correctly Magnet Bomb me, which is fine. And I know that there's Skarmory in the back, so I know he's going to be wanting to sack it. And like, sometime this period is going to be the right time. And I know he's going to sack. So anyways, so he does a really nice job, and I just like no charge it. And I think this Skarmory actually had energy on it. He was going for the Flash Cannon. I actually wanted the Skarmory to Flash Cannon me so I can farm down with Marowak, because I was pretty close to a Bone Club, and I would have won CMP versus the Probopass, but nice switch by my opponent. So we go into round number 6, and they have a Vileplume, Alolan, Marowak, Probopass, Gliscor, Medicham, and Wigglytuff. All right. Okay. So, I don't know. Like, these wing attacks are doing a lot of damage, and then I go for the foul play. I'm hoping no shield, and it does a lot of damage. And then what I do? Oh yeah. So this is a sweet play. I was like, I got baited, and then so I end up going for the Power Punch just to bait out the shield, because I know they're pretty close to an Earthquake. So then I switch into Gligar. This is totally what Swagron did to me. So then I catch the Earthquake. I'm like, okay, yeah, this works out pretty well for me. And then anyways, this Rock Slide comes through. So I was like, okay, I'll just draw out the last shield, and then I'll let this Probopass do whatever it wants. And then I go for the dig, and then I end up KOing. And then I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe I just KO'd the Probopass with the dig. So and then I end up getting the boost as well. So this works out pretty well for me. So I end up coming into Scrafty to catch. I basically just catching this. The Scrafty is basically designed to absorb that energy, and then they end up coming into they end up coming into Gliscor to catch the energy or hope to hit the charge move or something. Anyways, I'm gonna let this go. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that play because Swagron literally did the exact same play to me. Well, not the exact same, but very similar play to me twice in our best of three. So I was like, oh, this is totally what they're gonna do. They're gonna shield because they want to preserve, and then I'll just count and then switch out and then catch the earthquake. So I take game number one. Felt pretty happy with that play. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not playing amazing. I definitely I made some very clear mistakes in terms of like playing out Scrafty twice, and that's like just lack of research. So end up catching the Wigglytuff. So I expect the switch out to occur, and they're not switching out. So I end up going for the Bone Club, and then they switch out into and behind on energy is not great. Yeah, not a great situation for me. So I am gonna have to burn an extra shield to maintain switch advantage. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I end up shielding an extra time. Okay, so they shield, and not a great situation for me. So I shield mostly because this is not within farm down range. So I go for the Night Slash. We'll see if they burn both shields. They don't, and I'm like, please, let me KO, and then they end up KOing and I lose energy, which is fine. They do make a really nice switch to Probopass, and I switch out, and I really thought about how I should have played this better because I ended up screwing this up. I don't know if first off, I think so the first power punch is fine. And then I should have no, okay. I tried to go for the second power punch, so actually, do I lose this match? I can't remember. I think, did they hit another charge move? I can't remember. So they ice beam me, or do I faint down? I think I faint down. Okay, no, I didn't screw that up. Was there another match? I don't know what the right play was. Maybe it was boosting first, and then yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess the thing is if I boost, I get less energy, or if I should just straight foul played. I probably should have just straight foul played against. I thought I could hit two, so another good situation for me. I blind switch into this matchup again. For some reason, I go first. I basically blind switched the Gligar the entire tournament, and I get the boost. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Okay, great. I'm going to be able to win this matchup pretty handily because these wing attacks are going to do so much damage. This boost is so broken. 2 stage boost. I don't know why I didn't. Oh, I know the Wigglytuff's going to come out anyway, so. And I know that this Night Slash is going to probably KO. Oh, actually doesn't KO. Okay. But it puts me in a pretty good situation. And then they come into Probopass, and I know this Night Slash is gonna, chunks away. And I was like, are they gonna let me get another one off? Okay, all right. So I know they're gonna switch out. Oh, they switch out into Vileplume. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty sweet. Shiny Vileplume. And I really shouldn't have shielded because I knew this was going to be a Sludge Bomb. But I was like, okay, in case this is something that I'm not expecting, because I'm going to have a lot of energy, I'm going to be able to throw the Bone Club. And then as well, I still have, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at this thing. But anyways, they're going to shield anyways, so. And then I think I shield, and then I just end this match. And then oh, it doesn't KO. I was like, oh, okay, this actually doesn't KO. So, oh, is this my next? Is this round 7? I think this is round 7. So we end up going Charizard mirror match. So I was like, so I know my Charizard probably is gonna lose CMP. So I purposely played this out a little bit differently than maybe I would have if I didn't know that, because I have like a rank 50 something Charizard. So I told myself I'll just take switch advantage because I know I'm not gonna win this CMP. So, and then like not that many things want to take a blast burn, and then I watch this stupid maneuver. So, oh, first off, I don't know why I'm not able to hit an excellent here. Well, this is just me messing up. So, I come into Gligar, um, bait out the Charmer, I guess the strategy, and then I go for the um, Night Slash, which ends up getting shielded, and then I think they're committed to farm me down. So I go into Gligar and go for the dig, and they do commit to farm me down, which is totally fine. I think I come into Charizard, which was probably a stupid play on my part. Yeah, I was actually hoping that they would fire off, but clearly, if you're, you know, 5-1 at this stage, so I was like, they end up hitting me with the Meteor Mash. I was like, oh, okay, that's a little bit surprised. And then they hit me with another charge move, and I end up tanking this, which is stupid of me. Um, yeah, quite stupid of me. Almost cost me the match. And I go for the Bone Club, and it doesn't KO, and I'm just barely able to survive. Well, I think my idea was like, oh, I'm gonna lose this match if I get hit by a rock slide. So that's why I was saving the shield. At least that's my thinking. I think if they double psychic me, I probably would have lost. Um, he had a rock slide. Yeah. So I think that was my mindset, was like my lose condition is if he rock slides me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna hope that they can't get off a double psychic. Um, that was my mindset at the time. Um, so ended up working okay. But if they double psychic me, I would have lost. So here comes Rhyperior. So I know this matchup's pretty good for me, and they end up staying in. Um, okay, which man, I can't hit these balls. And then I actually really was worried about superpower. So I ended up shielding the Surf. The reason why I was so worried about superpower is because we had talked about the. Oh, I ended up going for a power punch. I thought the Wigglytuff was coming out, or Clefable was coming out. Um, so dumb move on my part, and they come into Probopass, which is totally fine by me, because I'm gonna be able to farm up this Probopass later on, and then be able to put a lot of damage onto. So I'm not gonna shield. And so I go for this Bone Club. They end up shielding. That's great for me. And then I'm not going to shield. What did I do here? So they end up Magnabot me. I wasn't sure that was just for the flex. So I'm going to come in with Scrafty. And they come back in with Charizard. And I was like, okay, if this is a Blast Burn, it's going to be very bad for me. It ends up being a Dragon Claw. And I go for the Night Slash. Draw the shield. So I'm like, okay, great. All I'm going to do is I'm not going to shield. Blast Burn, that's fine, because I can be able to foul play this Charizard, because I already have energy. And this foul play is going to KO. And then I'm going to be able to counter down. And yeah, I know to save that shield is fine. I probably would have lost there, so. So KO, which is great for me. So Is this the? This is the third game, so I've already won the first two games. This guy runs me over. I don't know why I put this team together, because you're gonna see what happens. I don't know what I was thinking here. Because it's look, my sense of desperation as I look at my team, I was like, well, this is like my only Pokemon that can counter this, somewhat counter this Rhyperior. I was like, oh god, this is stupid of me. So I'm like, I have absolutely no play. And thank goodness he used a shield there. Yeah, this is whatever. This is game 3, but this is a very stupid team comp by me. So my plan is to come out of this matchup with energy, and I'm very cognizant that this. Okay, well, maybe not this time. I think after this, I'm cognizant, or a little bit more cognizant, that the switch clock could come up. So I'm not going to shield. Yeah, this is absolutely terrible. This is awful team composition by me. So I'm cognizant the switch clock's going to come up, so I'm going to overcharge a little bit, knowing that he can switch out into Rhyperior whenever he wants. And I switch out into hoping that to catch this. So here's the mistake I make. I really should have shielded this Magnet Bomb, because this was my only chance. Well, I think I would have lost this matchup anyways. Like, what am I going to do with a Probopass with like 10 HP? Because like I end up shielding this because I didn't shield the Magnet Bomb. I need to Shadow Ball, because Shadow Ball would do 3/4. Because I didn't shield that Magnet Bomb, I didn't survive that Mud Slap. So, and then I was like, you know what, this was a terrible team comp. And then so that's round number 7. So I'm going to round number 8. This is my chance for the tie, and I go against Rocha Babyface. I actually really wanted to battle him, hoping that we get paired up. But then I was looking at the standings. I was like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna get paired up. And then I saw I was in the middle in the world rank of the 6-1s, and so this is my chance to tie. Well, I didn't know I could tie. Well, at least for the chance to tie. So in this matchup, I was like, okay, these Battle Frontier guys said I just need to trade Night Slash. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, all right. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna shield. I'm only gonna shield if he shields, and then and then here I get the boost. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Okay, so I shield because he shields. Obviously, I'm gonna respect the shield. Let's see here. Okay, all right. So puts me in a pretty good situation. And then watch this. I was so nervous in this matchup that I actually don't even hit excellent there, because I was actually shocked that I even got it off. And I was like, oh, that did so much damage. Probably would have did more damage if I actually hit the charge move appropriately. And then he switches out into Wigglytuff, and then this matchup's pretty straightforward. Oh, I did get a second boost on the way after the Alolan Marowak as well. So that was pretty crazy. He actually told me that afterwards. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. And so this matchup's pretty straightforward from here. So what do I do? So I shield, and then I think I farm down. And I think I lose CMP on this Shadow Ball. He ends up bone clubbing me, I think. But I have like almost full health on my Scrafty. Like, even if he Shadow Balls me, I'm still gonna be able to win this match. Okay, so I end up winning that match. Okay, so I think we actually end up both leading Wigglytuff in this match. My Scrafty's pretty good. It's like rank 100 something, low 100s. I traded a bunch of them when I was in Peru. So a lot of ways, like, what I did in Peru like led up to this tournament. So we end up mirror matching, which is because I totally expected like Sableye or Scrafty, or and Wigglytuff was actually pretty decent against his team. It has like 3 wins and then 1 draw and then one like okay loss. It's not that bad. So total guessing game. Uh, Gligar's way safer for me. There's actually like no bad matchups now that Wigglytuff's off the floor, and he sees the same thing. Like, so what do I do? So, okay, here's the call. I was like, it's so obvious to shield when you have 2 shields. So, anyways, he foul plays me the first time, which is fine, and then I go for the Night Slash, and then I'm like, it's so obvious to shield when you have 2 shields and like you're in KO range. So I'm like, he's gonna bait me. And then I call his bluff, and then that allows me to get off this Night Slash. My Wigglytuff's okay. I think it's like rank 55. He switching to Alolan Marowak, and then so I learned my lesson when I went against Plabito. Sorry, in not even. Anyways, I'm so nervous in these matchups that I end up going for the Bone Club bait, and then that almost cost me the match. So I didn't realize like how far behind the energy I was. So I go for here, right? And I actually debate not shielding. I was like, this is just gonna be another Bone Club. I'm gonna shield just in case. Ended up being a Shadow Ball. I was like, how the heck is he so far ahead of me on energy? I know he switched out first, but it looked like he was like 2 ahead. So, anyways, oh, did I get the buff again? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize I even got the buff. So I should have stayed in that matchup and Night Slashed it. Anyway, so I end up winning that game number 2. Um, yeah, I ended up winning that game number 2, so that's great. So we ended up going to this Scrafty mirror match. So I know I have a chance to go in the finals. And then see, like I always know, like my Pokemon like are gonna high likelihood of not. So here I really concentrate. As you can see, my swiping patterns are a little bit different because I really want to hit this excellent. Um, ends up like not making a difference because I lose CMP. And then I go into a little Marowak. What does he come into? Comes into his own little Marowak. Uh, so he makes a really nice play. Hoping to absorb the Shadow Ball. Ends up being. So I build up to the Shadow Ball, and then I switch out into Charizard, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna farm down. I'm gonna shield, and then I was like, okay, here's my plan. He has 2 shields. I'm just gonna double blast burn both shields. And then this is when I knew I was in trouble. He didn't shield. I was like, oh yeah, because it doesn't KO. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Well, this is bad. I know he's gonna shield this one anyways. Well, I'm like, well, this is terrible for me. Um, so I was like, okay, the only way I'm gonna win this match is if he Bone Cup baits me. He ended up shadow balling me. So I was like, okay, GG. I had to call the bait. So, anyways, I'm gonna go into the playoff. This is the first round of the playoffs. So there is a 8-way tie for first. So I'm going against to do tennis. So I win the lead, and then I switch out, and then I was like, and then I end up in this matchup against Gliscor. And then this is bad. Yeah, I definitely should have charged up to 100. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. Anyways, I thought I had like the solid plan, like double blast burn, which I had, and then I will shadow ball him later. But he was too smart for me. So I end up in this matchup. I was like, okay, I gotta maintain switch advantage. I don't know if I necessarily needed to. I figured he had a Charmer in the back, which is why he went to Gliscor. And then I was like, please let me faint down. Please let me faint down. And then he ends up surviving with 1 HP. So I was like, okay, well, this is probably very bad for me. because I'm almost certain he has a Charmer in the back. And he does. And then I switch out to my own Charmer. And then I'm going to be met by Probopass. At this point in time, I was like, oh man, okay. Maybe this is where the run ends, which is totally fine. Um, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? This is a. I don't really have much play here, especially since it's Clefable. Um, and actually, don't throw the charge move because I want a little bit more health on my Scrafty, or at least a little more energy. But it doesn't really matter. This Clefable has like way too much health. So, what do I do? So I go for the foul play. Yeah, yeah, no bueno there. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna lead the same, and then I'm pretty confident that he's gonna run a very similar. He's gonna run the exact same team or something pretty similar. So I'm gonna have Probopass in the back for the Charmer, and then I have Wigglytuff as my safe switch. This is basically hoping for hard counters. This is like me gambling that. So I switch out and I switch out to Wigglytuff, and he actually, oh, he did the exact same thing that I did in my videos. I was like, oh my gosh, he literally baits me. I was like, oh god, he's like literally doing. So I was like, okay, if I can't ice beam him in time, I have to shield. I'm like, I need to maintain the switch advantage because he has a Charmer in the back, and I was like, okay, I can beat Clefable. I think I can beat Clefable up 2 shields. So I go into, so I shield here, and then he makes a weird maneuver. I can't remember where. So he built up to like basically 100 energy, and then he switches out into Lickitung, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna fire this energy. I don't know why I didn't go for Play Rough, and then I switch out into Scrafty, and I was like, okay, this is very odd, and then I go into. Uh, so this is just gonna be a body slam. He has Licky Licky, which actually I was pretty terrified on, which is why I didn't bring out Alolan Marowak because I was afraid of getting walled. So I was like, like he's not shielding anything. I was like, I'm pretty sure I can just feint him down with shields. Uh, yeah, I was like, so I was like, okay. I was actually hoping that I wouldn't have to show the Pro Pass. So I go into Wigglytuff, hoping that I could just charm down. So I didn't have to show that I have Probo Pass. It actually working out a little bit better for me in game number 3, and I just sparked down. Honestly, if he would have shielded any of those charge moves, then I probably would have lost the game. So anyway, so I go into this third game. I'm thinking pretty long and hard because a lot of people are watching, and then do I go no? Okay, yeah. So I go no Scrafty this time. This is like the only like third or fourth game where I didn't bring Scrafty. He brings up Medicham, and then he's staying in, and then I was like, okay, I know this is gonna be a psychic, and shadow balling, hoping to do a lot of damage to whatever comes in. So my phone was like boiling hot at this point in time. So which is why like I kept missing these bubbles because my phone was really overheating as well. I'm at like 14% battery. So I end up shielding the earthquake, which is fine. And then he ends up like burning his second shield. Yeah, my phone is like red hot. So I was like, okay, he burned both shields, which is fine. Doesn't really matter, these ones. I'm just explaining or making excuses why I can hit the bubbles there. But it was like super hot. And my phone was like a super low battery and I probably need to replace it. Anyways, so I build up and then I'm like, okay, I don't want to burn the shield. I need this shield for later. So I end up absorbing the Night Slash into my um, uh, anyways, so I'm in a pretty good situation. I need to go for this dig, and what I shield this Shadow Ball, and it's shielding Shadow Ball. So So I go for the dig, which ends up KOing. And I'm like, okay, I'm in a pretty decent situation right now. Um, he needs to burn the energy eventually, and if he lets me hit another Night Slash, it's gonna KO. And but I also know he has the Pokemon in the back, which is why I overcharged. And then when the game stopped, I'm like, oh god, please don't switch out, please don't switch out. And then uh, he wasn't able to switch out, and then I was end up KOing. So I ended up taking the first playoff game. Um, and then next up, this is actually the individual that caused the 7-way tie, or 8-way tie. Um, so I'm looking at his team. Is this the right team? I think it is. Anyways, so I lead Scrafty. We end up I think we restart this one actually. Yeah, we end up restarting. So actually, let me fast forward. I forgot that we had to restart. Okay. Yeah, so he's lagging. So spinning as well. So like this is the always near the finals. There's always lag, and then I switch out. It's kind of a dumb switch on my part. Um, but I guess I have a plan. Um, so I'm gonna go for the dig, and then he ends up like firing off the energy, which is fine. So I'm gonna farm up with Alolan Marowak, and then I think I just do I farm down completely? I can't remember. Okay, so I think I fired off right before he gets to the charge move. He ends up shielding, and then I don't know why I did this. Okay, so you know what? I just didn't want him to have any shield pressure, so I end up like firing off these charge moves like basically right before they got to their charge move. Um, so that way I could like preserve these shields, and then I end up able to farm down um, the Wigglytuff with Scrafty. Not every day you see that. That's kind of cool. I should have power up punch. No, actually, I guess I wouldn't have. Maybe I wouldn't. I guess I would have reached the power up punch. So I should have powered up punch but it doesn't really matter. I have 2 shields, so end up winning this match. So okay, all right. So take the first game, and then I was like, I'm really debating on how he's gonna play this, and I don't know why I let Alolan Marowak. Maybe I think I was expecting the Wigglytuff. So this ended up being pretty bad for me. So I say switch into Gligar, and then he goes into. So this is where I learned how terrible Dig is. So I was like, oh, an earthquake will like KO. Plus, my phone was really hot at this point in time, so I couldn't hit all the bubbles. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't even KO. What the heck? I was like, what the heck? How terrible is this move? I'm like, thank goodness my other opponent shielded. So I ended up shielding the. Um, so this is like a much more effective way of playing it. But really, my strategy here was to bait out the Wigglytuff, and then end up farming down. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta gamble. I go into Scrafty. I catch the foul play. So I think this is where he made a mistake. So he actually has Alolan Marowak in the back. You think I have so much practice with this fighting one that I would eventually get it down, but I'm not. So I think he has a little Probopass in the back, which is why I don't go for the foul play, because I'm like, oh, I'll just build up my power up. I'll build up my counters to be like absolutely invincible and like three shot this Probopass, and then I'm gonna look to counter down. He actually, so I think he should have switched, in my opinion. because Alolan Marowak has a much better matchup against uh, against Scrafty than Sableye does. So I end up going for what I do. Okay, so my phone is red hot at this point in time. So I'm like, I'm clearly swiping over these bubbles, but anyways, and then it doesn't actually KO, and then a bunch of people afterwards like, King, did you undercharge that Shadow Ball? I'm like, no, my phone is just a million degrees right now, and I couldn't hit the bubbles because they ended up allowing me to hit this Bone Club. So I was like, okay, whatever, this is good enough. So, and as I take game number two, we don't play game number three, and we go into the finals. Um, it's yeah, so go into the finals, and I was like, okay, not a great situation from. I think he end up leading Probopass. So I switch out because I need this. Okay, so again, bait out the Charmer, and then I go for the dig, which I'm really hoping grabs a shield because how underwhelming the damage is. And then I think I get to the Night Slash. So I could have baited and then got to the dig anyways, but it's fine. So I'm going to go into a little Marowak. I think I don't shield. He throws off the Ice Beam, which I thought was very interesting. I think he thought he could, if I tried to farm down, he could get off another Ice Beam. I am playing with a case on my phone. I think I'd take off my case. And so I end up going to Scrafty, and he switches out into Medicham, which actually, like, you think this would be a lot more worse matchup. And then I'm like, he probably doesn't have Dynamic Punch on it. So obviously double resist Psychic, and I get off this. So I'm like, this is not going to KO me. Right? I'm able to safely get off this foul play. I debated shielding because I think after this foul play, I probably could have threatened and anyways, I could have probably countered down if I wanted to. I'm like, okay, this is probably gonna be a Psychic. Oh, it ends up being an Ice Punch, but if it was a Psychic, I would have lost. So I go for this Bone Club, and this is a Rock Throw Probopass, and I go in and I'm just barely able to get it off. I don't think this even KOs. Does this KO? It actually doesn't KO. I have to do one more Fire Spin, and I barely barely win it. So, so I lead Scrafty, and then he leads Rhyperior, and then I switch out, into Gligar, which is an okay matchup. Obviously, these Ice Punches are going to do a lot. And what do I do here? So he did like some very interesting play. And then I'm able to land one more, which I think he doesn't shield. And I was like, please shield. He doesn't shield, which is definitely the right play. And I want to control switch advantage, and because I think to be honest, I would be able to. Anyway, so he ends up at the shield advantage, and then he comes into Rhyperior, and he makes a really nice switch here to Wigglytuff. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to switch out into Alolan Marowak, and I'm going to put pressure onto this Wigglytuff. And I think if he double shielded, and then I do another Bone Club, and he doesn't shield. I was like, oh my gosh, if he gets off the charge move, like, that's gonna be terrible for me. So I do a Bone Club, and then I was like, I was like, yeah. Anyway, so I know I need to go into my Scrafty, and I know his win condition is to do a surf bait and then land the superpower. So I tried to switch out so many times. So I was like, please be a superpower. He ended up superpowering me. I was like, okay, this is good for me. I'm basically going to be able to. I debatably should have countered down. So I tried to switch again. I was like, oh god, but I kind of knew that the superpower wouldn't KO, and I'm able to take the match despite getting hit by superpower. Honestly, if he would have surf baited and then superpowered me, then I definitely would have lost. So, anyways, very late, but really a lot of fun. Obviously, thank you to the entire community for coming out to this tournament. It was a lot of fun. Really fun environment. Actually, the tournament went pretty fast. Like it was the play, including the playoffs, which was another 3 rounds. It ended by 8 o'clock, and it was originally supposed to start at 12:30. So like 12:30 to 8 o'clock, 7.5 hours to do basically 11 rounds, which was pretty quick in my books. Like I've seen fewer rounds done over over a shorter period of time. So this is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed participating in this tournament, and got to say hi and take a lot of pictures with people, and connect with the community over there. So I think that was a lot of fun and really enjoyable. And I really enjoyed my time. Plus, I didn't get sunburnt like I did. I'm a little red, but I didn't get majorly sunburnt like I did in Lima. So that's a positive. But Lima was a great experience too. And yeah, and I'm glad that I was hoping that I wouldn't disappoint. Like, it's not that I really wanted to win. It really didn't matter to me. It wasn't my weighted cup. I'm not going to accept the regional invite regardless. So it wasn't really that big a deal for me to win. I just wanted to perform well so that they feel like it was worth it for me to go out there. Like if I would have won like 1-7 and they sponsored me to go out there, then it would look pretty bad. So yeah, they also did a lot of fun chanting, and it was a really fun environment, and the community is amazing then down there, and the Thursday night, Friday, and the Saturday event were pretty incredible. So definitely a really memorable time in my Pokemon Go career. So anyways, I'm gonna leave there. Don't forget to follow if you guys haven't already. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video or stream. Oh yeah, I gotta read the taco truck. Okay, good point. Okay, all right, host apparently. Okay, how do I do this? I gotta look up what are tacos numbers.
Can I get some like big?
Okay, all right. There you go. Yeah. Okay. All right. Does that work? Okay. Yeah, it did work. Okay. Great. Okay. Thank you again, everyone, and have a good night.